Welcome in, everyone, to RedRaiders.com. This is the Iowa State Breakdown. Zach Long, Nick Kosmider with the Lubbock Avalanche-Journal. And Nick, time for Iowa State, Texas Tech. We've had this one circled for a number of weeks since the schedule came out. An absolutely key game, two undefeated teams. Last 2 years, there's really not a polite way to say this, Texas Tech thoroughly embarrassed. First time in Ames. Last year, even more so in Lubbock, a very demoralizing loss. And this year's Iowa State team, stout again as well. Arguably maybe played one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the Big 12.
Yeah, it's no doubt that Texas Tech, just like we have, has been approaching this game. When non-conference starts, they have talked about how each game is important to build upon, but they knew that this was what starts it all. This game against Iowa State to open up Big 12 play. Where your season is going to go, we're going to get a good look at that come Saturday night up in Ames. And like you said, 2 years of losing big time. First time 52-38 in Ames, and then last year just a total letdown, a 41-7 defeat coming off of just a gigantic win at Oklahoma. And so when we've talked to players within the last week or so, they have been circling this game as something that not only they know they need to win for their season, but just to have some redemption for the way the last two games have gone. And Iowa State, maybe a little more prepared with their non-conference schedule, has played a decent Tulsa team. They were started behind, came back and won that one. Beat Iowa 9-6 in a game that's always low scoring and close, and then finished with Western Illinois. So they're as ready as they can be. Tech has played very well in its non-conference season rather. So I think we're in for a real treat on Saturday, and it couldn't be more important for these two teams.
And Texas Tech's players and coaches, they remember the last 2 years, and quite frankly, it stings. You can tell in their voices. And when we checked in with them on Monday during the press conference, it was very evident to know that was going through their heads.
The vibe around the locker room and the building is totally different than it was last year. Guys are excited about this game, which they should be. It's our big first test, and we remember what happened the last 2 years. They definitely got did what they wanted against us, and we didn't perform very well on offense. So we're excited, and you can tell guys are focused and ready to play. We have one common goal, and that's to win a Big 12 championship, and this is our first test. I think the fact that the two scores that were posted around the locker room is enough motivation for us, and the fact that it's our first big test and our first game going into what our common goal is to win a Big 12 championship is motivation enough for us.
We didn't even come close to playing, even as to the point where we had a chance. I thought we were much better, and we didn't come close to playing how we could have played. Now, not taking away anything from Iowa State, they came in the other way. We just got through beating Oklahoma. We better go play hard, or this thing could get out of hand. And so they brought it to us and took it to us in every form or fashion. We were never in the game, wasn't even close. And hopefully we learn from that. We got a lot of guys back from that same team.
And Nick, getting into the guts of Iowa State, we'll start with their offense. Very balanced, a little bit of both in terms of what they do. And Steele Jantz, quarterback, back last year. Tech fans didn't get to see him. Instead, they saw Barnett, who absolutely destroyed Texas Tech, and then two good running backs as well, and Chantrell Johnson, James White, and others. A very good Cyclone offense.
Yeah, it's really sort of interesting. Paul Rhodes, in his weekly press conference this week, said that Steele Jantz has redemption on his mind. This last year, he was sitting on the sidelines when Jared Barnett made his first career start, and all he did was accumulate 236 total yards and account for 2 touchdowns, leading just that impressive offensive performance against Tech. And so now, after Barnett had gone a few weeks later to put up huge numbers in a win over Oklahoma State, it seemed like Jantz was sort of done. He was going to be the backup quarterback. He played in their bowl game well. He came back and won the job in spring and fall camp, and so now he's looked pretty decent through the first 3 games, and so it's going to be his opportunity. If he struggles, they are confident in Barnett. They won't waste any time, but Jantz is the guy for now. And then, like you said, you have 2 running backs. No good team that runs the ball well anymore has just one guy. Right. Iowa State has 2 really good ones in White and Johnson, and those are going to be guys who they lean on heavily. Last year, 368 yards on the ground. We believe that Texas Tech's run defense is much improved. This will be the first real test.
And you want to talk about a test. Look on the other side of the football for Iowa State. The defense, my goodness. 2 of the best linebackers in the United States. A.J. Klein, Jake Knott. Very tough task for Tech's offense to keep those 2 off balance.
Yeah, there might not be a school that has two linebackers as talented as Klein and Knott, and who have been there with that much experience for so long. And so those guys are going to be key. They call out the defense. They're stout against the run. They help in coverage. So they're going to be challenged, but also a very good secondary for the Cyclones that has defended the pass well. So truthfully, a great test for the Texas Tech offense that has rolled through inferior competition so far this season, and then we'll get kind of a good look to see just how dynamic those playmakers are, just how much that run game might be improved.
And Texas Tech is well aware of the defensive talents of Iowa State. In fact, offensive coordinator Neil Brown, he spoke to those very sentiments on Monday.
Well, they're by far the best defense we played. I think they're going to be one of the better defenses in our league. With those guys, it always starts with the two linebackers. Klein and Knight are as good as anybody in our league. They're physical kids. They do a great job in the pass game, getting in their zone drops. They also got a kid, Washington, who's a safety that's played last 2 years against us. So I think he's an NFL talent. I think he's very, very good. And probably their most underrated is they play about 4 or 5 D tackles inside, but they're all big guys. I mean, they're 280 plus, and they do a good job of really pushing the pocket and getting a surge in the run game also.
Nick, Saturday night, Ames, Iowa. We'll be up there. Going to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Two good teams that are 3-0. This is it. It all gets going now. We're going to have a lot better idea of what this Texas Tech team looks like here in just a few days.
And in a few days, you can get full coverage, where you always get it, RedRaiders.com, LubbockOnline.com. We'll be in Ames, Iowa with our full team for full coverage of the Red Raiders Big 12 Conference opener. Until then, we'll see you next time. Nick Kosmider, I'm Zach Long.